Heart to Heart. Real people having real conversations about things that matter most to you. I'm Sherry Elise.
I'm Cyrus Webb.
I'm Rich Osagara.
I'm Patrice Tanaka.
And we are Heart to Heart.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Heart to Heart. Hey, Heart to Heart.
Hello.
Hello. We are a brand new interactive talk show where you get to choose the topic. We are so grateful that you are joining us today. If you are here watching with us, whether live or the replay, share with us where you're watching from and share with us what's on your heart. Why don't we go ahead and bring in my beautiful Heart to Heart family. Hey guys.
Hello. How's everybody?
Fabulous.
Yeah.
I wanted to let all of our viewers know today that a little bit later in the show, we are going to be opening up the Heart to Heart vault. You guys sent in the questions and we are going to be covering them. So today it's going to be revealed live. None of us know what the question or topic chosen was. Our amazing producer, Tracy Allen, chose it last night in her Heart to Heart hat or Heart to Heart mug, I don't know. But it's either going to be, the questions today that came in are how to be alone, how to live a minimal life, and then also single parents and the discrimination that they may feel in the workplace and in society. So stay tuned. Make sure you stay with us to find out which one will be revealed. Hello, Cody.
Oh.
So we have some very exciting news that I want to mention. Somebody here, and I'm not mentioning any names yet, just might be making world history tomorrow. Cyrus, congratulations on the attempt at the Guinness Book of World Records.
Thank you very much. And I should say, I'm excited. As much as I can be excited about something, I am excited about it. But I have to say, more so than the winning the honor, I think just having an amazing day of conversations is a great way to spend my day. Just like when I come here with you guys.
You can pay him to say that. That's honestly about the coolest thing. Like, who gets to say like the Guinness Book of World Records? So for those who don't know, Cyrus is attempting the most interviews within 24 hours. Let everybody know how they could be part of this tomorrow.
Yeah, so the current record is 347, was set now over 5 years ago. And so we're going to be attempting this, and you guys can stay tuned. You can be able to watch on my Facebook page at facebook.com/CyrusWebb. We'll be being with you guys all day. You'll be able to stream the interviews all day. Go back and listen to them if you care to do that. We have some great ones. I mean, to me, they all are great, though, to be honest with you guys. I mean, a lot of attention will be paid, of course, to the celebrity interviews, but there'll be a lot of amazing interviews that are taking place tomorrow. So I hope you guys will stay tuned and be a part of history with us.
So awesome. Let's shout out everybody. Good morning, hello, or afternoon. Yolanda, Carl, Melissa, Chrissy, Cody. We are so excited you guys are here with us. Mm-hmm. So what's been going on with you guys? Rich, what's happening in your world today?
Well, what's on my mind today is a question for you guys. I want to know, what's your morning magic formula? And here's what I mean. And actually, Sherry, before we came live, you were talking about this. So I was excited because this is the thing. There are certain things that I do in the morning that when I do them, things go a certain way. They go better. Like, I'm more grounded. I'm more present. I can deal with life less reactively. Like walking meditation. I love my Breathe app. Walking. I keep my eyes open. Make it a walking meditation. Affirmations.
It would be dangerous if your eyes were closed and walking.
It would be dangerous.
Right.
Don't meditate walking with your eyes closed. Affirmations in the shower. I have a certain sequence that I use. And when I do it, I feel grounded and like, okay, I got this. So I'm curious, what do you guys do? What's your morning magic formula that if you don't do it, your day doesn't go quite the same way?
Yeah.
Sherry.
Okay. Oh God, I've got like a whole array of stuff, and part of it's probably my OCD. Like, if you don't do this, your day won't be as good as it was yesterday. But But no, honestly, and this is as truthful as can be. And John, my fiance knows better. Just ignore me in bed in the mornings. But from the moment that I first open my eyes, or I'm just have conscious awareness, my hand always goes to my heart. Because my mind always wants to start going about all the things that you have to do and what you didn't do, and seeking out the things that are troublesome. And so my hand on my heart, for me, connects me to the miracle and blessing that's actually happening and to the present. So I start with that. I say thank you immediately. And I'm on this new kick, which is really exciting. I do not grab my phone to scroll social media. I do not grab it to look at emails. I actually use my app. I use Insight Timer, and I listen to a morning meditation. So that's the only thing. I go straight to it, and I'm not going to lie. Like, I see all the other apps, and I'm like, Insight Timer, Insight Timer,
Yes.
Insight Timer.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. And I listen to a short meditation. It's usually about like 10, 15 minutes. And then I'm up and at 'em, and I go for my morning hikes. If I don't get all three of those in, I feel like there's just something off for the day. But mornings are magic. And it's the most beautiful time of the day. It's a great question.
Yeah.
How about you, Cyrus?
It's interesting. Shout out to Earl Hall for watching us live. He mentions car conversations, and it's a running joke, even though it should be an actual show, guys, because part of my daily, literally 7 days a week. I get up, of course, I pray. Sherry, it's interesting that you don't do the email and stuff first. I have to do that to kind of make sure my day is kind of clear. I'll check the stuff that came in before I got up. I can kind of clear that off. But Earl and I literally 7 days a week, we talk in the morning. About 1% is personal. The rest is business, things we want to do. That kind of helps me to kind of stay focused and not to just, rest on yesterday, to kind of keep me moving forward. So that's kind of my routine. Nothing really as deep as meditate, but I do play music. I don't know if that
is a form of meditation.
Yeah.
That is a form of meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, what have I been? Every morning I say thank you for another day, and I ask for tremendous joy. Because every night before I go to bed, I count all the joyful episodes of the day. And I specifically ask for tremendous joy because for many years I was just asking for joy. And then one day I thought, wonder what would happen if I asked for tremendous joy? Would it make a difference? So when I just asked for joy, I could count like 8 to 12 joyful episodes of the day. And I count every episode the same weighting, whether it was just a nice conversation with, someone with the doorman, or I want a new account, same weighting, right? It was so 8 to 12 joyful episodes of the day. And then when the day that I asked for tremendous joy, that day it was like 25 joyful episodes. And so I thought, yeah, and I am the person who every word, matters. So of course I should be asking for tremendous joy. So that's kind of how I start my day. And then I have these other little things that I do as part of my routine. I know, Rich, you're on Noom as well. I'm kind of a few months into Noom, but I'm very involved in doing all the readings and the logging in and the weighing. So I do that. And then I'm working with 2 other people, and we're doing a year of living in purpose. So every day there is some little thing, some reflection, or sometimes a meditation, or sometimes some writing assignment. And then I have breakfast, and then I'll go for my walk. And my walk is walking the hallways, and I'm listening. And on my morning commute, walking the hallways, I listen to different things. Sometimes it's hip hop. Sometimes it is TED Talk. Sometimes I'm listening to a new audiobook now called Breath by James Nestor, which is really a fascinating read. So, boy.
Just fill in our spirits. Just fill in the spirit, right? It's such It's such a great question, Rich. I love Holly says that she's enjoying this topic and our mindset sets our day. Carl says writing can be powerful too.
Yes.
And physical exercise, of course.
Yeah.
Cyrus, it's so funny you say like you check your emails. Like for me, anything, well, your work and life are all in one.
Yeah.
But anything that's like outside of that, I've noticed, and it's really important. I used to not notice, like I notice a constriction and a little bit of anxiety around. Like I notice my personal response to stuff. So that part of my self-care is, it's not starting my day obviously with stress and anxiety and a constricted heart.
Yeah. I get it. And to go to what Holly says, and Holly, thank you so much for watching. I think the mindset, what Holly says about setting the day is so true. Now, we'll say for a selfish reason, guys, a reason why I do check the email. I have you know me, I'm weird. So I have an unspoken thing. I don't let my emails, I don't go to bed with my emails more than 100. So once I get them under the 100, I'm okay for the day. I can go. So then the next morning when I start off, I know that sounds like anyway.
No, I just can't breathe.
Yeah. So when I get up in the morning, my thing is every day, get them down to a 100, or less before, so that I don't feel that anxiety. And it works for me. But I think that's the whole thing. I think it's really like what Rich was saying, finding what works best for you.
Yeah, there's just so many ways. And I think whatever the formula is, like it's your formula, right?
Yeah.
We figure out what works. And I think that's the key is doing that inner exploration and getting to know, paying attention to what produces the best results. And we're all talking, at the end of the day, that's what we're all talking about here is what we've discovered helps us produce the best results for our day, for our lives, for our personalities. And for me, it's definitely a work in progress. And there's a lot more things that I do beyond what I mentioned here. I get on my scale too, Patrice. Do the daily weight to see how I'm doing, which I've lost about 10 pounds, by the way.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. And I still have, fried chicken and ice cream. I love it. It's a great system.
Treating yourself. We still got to treat ourselves, right?
Yeah.
I think anytime we restrict anything, then we want more of it. So it's that, again, with everything, balance, moderation.
Yeah.
I just want to, because Earl has done it, and we were just doing this right before we came on with you guys today, to shout out Tracy Allen, our producer, who is doing an awesome job. And I don't know what her morning routine is, but I know she dances around naked. She mentioned that before. I don't know if that's first.
Well, now we know.
Well, that's a private joke from our. Well, it's not so private. We said it publicly last time, but
right. Thank you. She said.
So awesome. So for those of you guys who are just tuning in, we're actually talking about our morning routines, and we're about to jump into one of our. Well, first, Rich, thank you for bringing up that great topic. Was there anything final you wanted to say about it, or any advice or encouragement for anyone?
Yeah, just if you find that you don't like the way your days go, you have two choices. You can be at the effect of life coming at you, or kind of even with Cyrus saying how he checks his emails with a purpose. He's just not like, if I look at my emails straight away, then I'm going to be stressed out. But he has a way of doing it that is structured, and there's a reason for it. He has a game he's playing about the 100 emails, right? There's a reason. So we just get to find out what are the things that support us in being awesome, so that we can do what we're here to do on the planet and do it fully present and not distracted. And it's different. The formula is different for each person. So I'd encourage everyone watching, figure out what your formula is. If you haven't thought about this, think about it today and notice what works and what doesn't, and don't do the things that don't work.
And go be awesome. And go be awesome. You guys, it is time for our favorite part of the show and the entire reason that we created Heart to Heart. So Tracy, it's time for our Heart to Heart Vault. Yay! We're going to be opening up. I love that. That brings me joy. I know. As mentioned in the beginning of the show, the 3 questions that came into us were how to be alone, how to live a minimalist life, and about single parents and discrimination against them in the workplace and society. Tracy chose one of them randomly. And so we are about to find out with you for the first time what the topic or question is going to be today. Tracy, reveal.
Oh. Love that graphic.
All right. So, how to be alone. Before we dive into it, just so you guys know, please, we love your feedback. You are part of this conversation with us. So, we'd love to know, is there any one of you guys that want to jump into this first?
Well, I think I have this one down pat.
You are the
Yeah, I think this one was made for me. So whoever sent this question in, thank you.
Dave Avani.
Oh yes, thank you.
Yeah. So for me, it's an interesting thing because I have learned that I can be alone without being lonely, and that's okay. I think growing up, part of my depression came from thinking I had to be with someone. And as I shared with you guys before, I was not, even my mom even shared, I was not someone who just needed to be around people. But when I realized it wasn't a requirement, that is the most freeing thing in the world. And I think, being able to take that time out for yourself, I think it's necessary. I think being by yourself doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It doesn't mean that, that you're weird. But I think you become more aware of who you are. And I think that really helps you when you do start engaging with people, both personally and professionally.
Yeah, that's a powerful distinction there. I love that you brought up about loneliness and alone, because they are two different. To me, I feel like alone is a physical place, like I'm physically alone right now. Mm-hmm. And loneliness is, of course, that feeling that you get when, for me, it feels like that there's not a, that you don't have any sort of emotional engagement with somebody else, that you feel like you are shut off or closed off from others. Even if you're in a relationship, you might not have that emotional intimacy with somebody. Yeah. And in the question, how to be alone, as a self-love coach, that's the work that we do. It's learning to create and cultivate and nurture a relationship with yourself. So I would say begin to look at that and start creating a relationship with you. And then there is that part with the loneliness, because I used to feel that too. I always thought that I had to be around everybody. Like my personality was like, oh, I need this, I need that. And that was just because I didn't want to spend time with myself. And I didn't know that at the time. So I had to keep busy, or I had people around me. And the more and more that I began to learn more about myself, the more and more I felt less alone or lonely. So cultivating a relationship with you is what I would say is how to be alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that distinction between loneliness and being alone, that's really, for me, it's like a spiritual practice. I'm also an introvert. And Cody mentioned, COVID-19 is a great way to be alone, LOL. And yes, that's funny, Cody. And it's also not funny for a lot of people who are not
his partner, by the way, for those who don't know.
My partner, yes. I think that's his way of saying, take a trip, leave me alone. But I'm so good being alone and not feeling lonely because I'm alone. I may feel lonely sometimes, but not because I'm alone. And that's maybe an introvert thing versus an extrovert who thrives on interaction and being around other people. And I do know that during this last year, the pandemic, so many people have suffered from having to be alone when that wasn't their nature, that wasn't how they're used to being. And that has led to lots of depression and suicide, divorce. Also, there's been a huge increase in divorce. I don't know the exact stat, but I know that there's been increases in these things having to do with either being forced to be with someone and not having alone time, or because you are alone. But I think there's a lot to be learned from being alone spiritually. And that's the only way we get to really know who we are and to dig past the surface the surface level and to get into who am I really, and like what makes me tick, and what do I like and what don't I like. And this pandemic period has been a great gift. If you can move past the loneliness and get to know who you are yourself, whether you have someone living with you or not, I think that's a good practice to get to know that level of you, because we have to dig through some crud usually.
Yeah.
And that's the uncomfortable part. And then that makes you want to go be with things or use things, drugs, alcohol, chocolate, whatever the thing is, social media, Clubhouse, right? We get distracted because we can't be alone with ourselves, because then we can start hearing what's really happening inside. But push through that, and you might be surprised how beautiful and awesome you are on the inside if you allow yourself to get that deep.
I just want to say really quickly before we jump to you, Patrice, that that there's nothing that let's not let it go unsaid that there is such a thing. Like if you don't have physical touch or people around you, that, I mean, it is okay. Like, I don't want people to feel like it's not normal, like to feel this way. I think we all need connection, and we all need community, and we all need each other, and we need that interaction. So I just want to say that if you are feeling that reaching out to somebody, to a community, to people of your interest is really important. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Patrice.
Even if you're an introvert.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I am an introvert too. And, when we had to shelter in place and I live alone, it was like, that's not the worst thing that could happen to me as an introvert. And I have a view of the Hudson, so it's like, I'm good. But I remember many years ago where I did feel lonely, even in my marriage. And, it's a terrible feeling. And I don't think I've felt that way in so long. I actually had to think about it as we were talking. And I think what the big thing that has changed is since I discovered and began actively living my purpose, which is to choose joy, to be mindful of that joy, and to share that joy with others, I have just continued to make choices of joy, which have not, and the joy doesn't mean that it's always, happiness and sunshine and roses. It's you're choosing something that is going to ultimately, produce joy for yourself and others. So you feel good doing those things, and you're willing to push through some of the frustrating times. But I guess because I do have a purpose, which is to choose joy. I hadn't thought about being lonely until we started talking about it today. And I don't think I've been I live alone, but I'm not lonely. There's just so much, so many people. So I've met so many people just during this time of COVID, because people want to connect and they want to reach out. They want to talk, which is lovely. And I like to do that as well, but I also need a lot of alone time as well. So
Cody says, of course, if you have faith in a higher power, you realize that you are never truly alone. And you guys, I want to go a little deeper with this in terms of someone out there that is struggling, someone out there who maybe doesn't have people in their lives that call them, or maybe they're not on social media and don't reach out to people, like are literally physically alone and feel that they are alone. How do you any tips, advice for anybody that is literally alone and then feeling that loneliness, and maybe isn't that extrovert that can just go and reach out, and even like I said, go join a community? That's easy for someone who likes to talk.
Yeah. What I thought about, Sherry, when you said that, is that I think it almost goes back to what Rich was saying about routines, right? Because I think a lot of times it depends on what you feel like you need to feel you, or to make you feel less lonely. And I think, for some people, it might be as simple as being able to better connect with themselves, and to a point where they realize what they would need or would not need when it comes to interaction. But also, I think knowing that, just because they may be feeling that way, is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it may be an opportunity for them to reflect on what really matters to them. So when they are able to have that engagement interaction, it's something that is appreciated more.
I love that. I just the only thing thought that keeps coming to my head is like self hugs because John and I, for those like who's my fiance, like we're very different people. So I love to have all these in-depth, really grounded spiritual conversations, and that's not who he is at all. So there are times in our relationship where I can feel like I don't have that connection, and that could feel lonely. And so reaching out on social media is one thing, but I still know that there is a wall there, and it's not that it's not real, but there's not that. I don't know how to say it. And so the only thing that I keep doing is, as you're just mentioning, Cyrus, find out what, do the things that fill you and find out what that is. And so that's the work that I do. That's why I hug myself. That's why I go on my hike. That's why I do these things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if we are lonely, can we think about reaching out to someone, because other people might be lonely too? And so,
good point. Good point.
Yeah.
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 But I think on the other side of it is when I know this for myself, that if you get into a state where, in my experience, for me, loneliness, if I stay in that state, and I have been in that place for sure, that can then lead to the depression and those aspects of myself that I do a lot of work with to stay on the other side of. Mm-hmm. Spiritually, physically, personal development wise, supplements, you name it, like to not be in that heavy emotion place, which includes being alone and being with myself, right? So there's all this work, but not everyone is at that place, or not everyone knows all those tools. And so I think for those of us that do know that little bit more, and who know what it feels like to be lonely and maybe be in a place of depression or disconnection, then we can take it upon ourselves too to reach out to those people. And we all know them. We all know who they are. And it could even be, Sherry, you mentioned social media. There's a lot of lonely people on social media. And I tend to know, I'm not going to generalize, but sometimes there's people on social media who will like or, give a like, a love or whatever, but they don't really comment. And those are the people that are, in my experience, like they might be a little more shy. They may be worried about being seen or being heard or being judged. And those are great people who you might just send a private message to and say, hey, thanks for commenting on my post today. How are you doing? Yeah. Or if you have their phone number, if they're a personal friend. So there's ways to just do, even if it's like a random act of kindness to reach out.
Thank you, Rich. I always think that outreach to other people in any way lifts you up. We always say, when I'm feeling discouraged, I encourage. So I think just finding that place within ourselves is a great way. I want to thank Deva, I believe it's from your community, Rich, right? For sending in that question to us, how to be alone. And if you guys want to have your question, your topic be part of Heart to Heart, we invite you to email us at hearttohearttalkshow@gmail.com. We would love to be able to have this conversation, this heart to heart, about something that is important to you. And I want to thank our beautiful co-host, my beautiful co-host today, our team, and all of you for joining us. We want to wish you a very, very happy Valentine's Day, which is coming up.
Yes.
Valentine's Day. And I always say it's a day of self-love, personally. So thank you to Tracy Allen, our producer, for all of your amazing work here on the show. Rich, Cyrus, I love you guys. Don't forget to tune in. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow for Cyrus's big day, the Guinness Book of World Records. And if you have any tips, again, about how to be alone for someone that is struggling, please feel free to share in the comments so people can come back and watch this and be a part of this conversation. Thanks for tuning in to Heart, and don't forget to take care of yours and one another's. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Thank you.